What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Off-Duty Pipe. Smoking out of the Peterson today. Have some Black Magic Woman. Have some good coffee. Cheers. Today's topic is going to seem to jump around quite a bit, but it all has the same theme. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and I didn't quite know how to present the thoughts that I had. Without just sounding like a rambling madman. But the topic fits every corner of my life. And that topic is, what am I searching for? And I don't mean religion. I know what I'm searching for there. I am a Christian. But we're talking about things that I'm sure all of us have got caught up in consuming. See, I can remember a time in my life when I was content with everything I had. I wasn't constantly looking forward to the next thing I could buy, or the next game I could play, the next piece of equipment. I was content with what I had. But as life got further advanced, I started searching in every area of my life. I needed the next big thing. And again, this is hitting every area of my life. We'll start with video games. Video games have always been a pastime of mine, something I've enjoyed since I was a kid. See, I'm 35, and when I was a kid, I had a Sega, a PlayStation, and I remember when the original Xbox came out. And I wasn't bogged down with the online store. I wasn't bogged down with the amount of games and the backlog of games that there is now. I had a handful of games, and I played them over and over. When I had time and I was inside and not outside, I didn't sit and stare at the digital store for 30, 40 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to play. Are the games that I have worth playing? Should I buy a new one? What is everybody else playing? I found the game that I wanted, that I liked. Usually Halo. 360 came about, it was still Halo. Gears of War. Grand Theft Auto. Especially San Andreas back in the day. I picked one, I put it in, no thoughts about it, and I played. I spent all the time that I had to game actually gaming. Now I have so many consoles and so many games backlogged that when I do have time to sit down in my very busy adult life and play a game, I waste most of that time sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to play. It's the same way with TV shows and movies. Me and my wife have select shows that we rewatch. The Office mainly is the only show actually that we really rewatch consistently. But when we're watching a show and that show is ended and we're trying to find what to watch next, there's so much pushed out there that it takes forever for us to figure out what we want to spend our time watching. By the time we figure it out, we're ready for bed. To a lot of you, that may not seem like a big problem. It's good to have options, and it is good to have options. It is good to be able to sit down and play whatever game I want. But see, the problem is up here. I have trouble figuring out what I want to do. When I was a kid, there wasn't that many options. It was simpler. It was easier for me to sit down and enjoy the time that I had. See, then we go into the next aspect of my life, and that's firearms, gear, and equipment. See, before I was a police officer, I still carried a firearm just about everywhere I went. I still carried a blade. I was very much an EDC guy. You fall into the EDC world, and it's always about the next piece of equipment I can get, the next knife I can carry. And if I don't spend that $60 to $300, whatever it may be, on that next knife or that next wallet, that I'm not EDCing correctly. Because I get on YouTube and I see everybody carrying new stuff. Or I go talk to my friends or fellow officers and I see people carrying new gear. So-and-so just bought a new piece of equipment and it's so much better than the previous gen piece of equipment. And it messes with my head so much that I've spent thousands of dollars throughout the years chasing that next piece of gear that essentially is going to do the same thing that the last piece of gear I had did. See, I convinced myself that these things that are norms now in the world are things I need. Things that I didn't need before are things I need. And so, for instance, when I first got into law enforcement, I had a Glock 19, a Gen 4. See, as a young man in my early 20s, I didn't have a lot of money. I worked full-time while I went through the academy. I had equipment and debt that had to be paid from going through the academy. And when I got out and got into a job in law enforcement, I didn't make hardly anything. But I was happy. I was content with the gear I had. The department I worked for gave me a Glock 17 Gen 4. This Glock, to be exact, nothing special about it. It's a Gen 4 Glock 17. Got some goon tape on it. It's got Glock brand night sights. I carried that gun on duty and off duty everywhere I went. I wasn't concerned with what other people were carrying. I wasn't concerned with, well, there's a new Micro 9 out. That was the gun I had. That was the gun I carried. When I went to the range, I didn't waste a lot of time thinking, what gun am I going to take today? Which guns do I need to train with today? That was it. That was my duty pistol, my off-duty pistol, my bedside pistol, and life was simple. When I did finally move on, I moved on to a Glock 26 Gen 4, and that started becoming my off-duty gun. My full size stayed at home when I was not with my family. If I was working, the subcompact stayed at home. So my wife had a firearm at the house. I had a shotgun at the house as well. And it was very simple, right? I got dressed. I put on the Glock 26. I took the same magazines as backup that I carried with my Glock 17. And life was simple. See, at that time, there wasn't a huge list of guns that I wanted. I had a Glock 17. I had a Glock 26. I missed my Glock 19 that I sold when I first got my job. But I didn't need it at the time because they gave me a firearm. So when I did buy another firearm, I bought a Gen 4 Glock 19. That became my daily carry off duty. Life was simple. See, the weight didn't bother me. The holster I had didn't bother me. I had a simple holster. Then more and more manufacturers started making holsters, and this is the holster you need if you want to be comfortable. This is the holster you want to use if you want the gun to disappear in your waist. And just like the video games, I convinced myself that I needed these things. And I spent a lot of time and a lot of money chasing the next best thing, instead of just carrying what worked for me. See, a little forward now, the firearm world has tons of options. Not only just with firearms, but with sights, holsters, optics. And there is a place for some of that. My duty pistol is an M&P Metal 2.0. This gun. I run a light. I run a Holosun 509T. This gun is decked out by all means. I have suppressor height sights that lower 1/3 co-witness with my optic. They're night sights, and it's a great pistol. It does everything I want it to do, and for carrying as a duty pistol, the advantages of having the optic and the flashlight are important. So I carried a flashlight on my Gen 4 17 as well. So that didn't really change. In fact, it's the same light. Having a duty pistol that has an optic, to me, is important. Being on an SRT team, being that I may have to respond with a handgun and make a life-altering decision to take a shot at further distances, it is nice to have an optic. But see, then I start buying firearms for off-duty carry, and they mostly come optics ready nowadays. And that leads to me thinking, well, I need an optic for off-duty carry. So I spent a lot of time finding a gun to carry off-duty. Then I spend time and money getting an optic to put on that pistol so that I can slap it in my waistband in one of the 30 holsters that I've been testing out, trying to figure out which one fits me. Oh, this is the next best holster. By the time it's said and done, you have $500 to $600 into a gun, $300 to $500 into an optic, because I'm going to carry a quality optic. To carry on a gun that I'm going to have in my hand for probably 5 seconds a day, putting it on and taking it off. Now, if I ever needed it, it's there and I have it. But the reality of it is, as a firearms instructor, as somebody who has almost 12 years of law enforcement experience, I can tell you that in a self-defense situation, pulling that gun out and engaging a target within 7 yards is the most likely scenario for self-defense. Most of the time, you don't even look at your irons or your optic. It's stressful. You're getting the gun out and you're point shooting. And after you have engaged and after the threat is done, you may find yourself aligning sights. But even that really only happens with people that train a lot. You engage, threat's gone, you keep your gun or you holster up, right? So for that off duty, going about my civilian life engagement, do I need an optic? Well, if I want to take it to the range and train with an optic, yes. But I find myself less in a position where I'm going to have to engage a hostage shot or a long distance shot. Like there's a higher potential for me to do at work where I would want an optic for that. The reality of it is, most of those shots you're going to want to try to take with a rifle. So I've convinced myself that I need an optic for my off-duty carry, when the reality of it is, I don't. See, when I started this journey involving my career in firearms, all I wanted was to have the Glock 26, the Glock 19, and the Glock 17. To me, that would be the trifecta of handgun perfection. Not to say that I don't appreciate other brands like Smith & Wesson, but that's what I wanted. I had a gun for almost every purpose, and it was simple. I had 3 guns. Now, I'm happy that I have a safe full of guns, and I have options. But over the years, I have bought, traded, sold, bought again, guns that I've convinced myself I need for off-duty. optics that I need on that off-duty carry. When the reality of it is, there was a time when I was carrying a Gen 4 Glock with Glock brand night sights, and it did everything I needed it to do. So why am I spending money and time to chase the perfect carry gun when what I had back then suited me just fine? It did everything I needed it to do. I never felt unsafe going out with my family. I never felt like I couldn't protect them when we were out and about or when I was in my house. In fact, in my house, that Glock 17 is what's been my around the house gun. That's the gun that sets bedside. Always have. Even though my duty pistol has the light, has an optic. See, it has done the same job that new duty pistol does. Now, the new duty pistol has some things about it that'll do it better. But again, that's in a work role where I may need that extra stuff. I can't think of a time that I've needed it off duty. And the fact that I understand how an engagement in self-defense or defense of my family or my home would go, thinking and knowing that I will not be using the optic, I will be point shooting. Why am I wasting money to put an optic on a gun that I'm not going to use? Sure, I could take it to the range and I could shoot out at the range with it. That's a novelty at that point, just training. I can do that with the duty pistol I have. So I've started trying to do things to force myself back in to the old way where I could sit down, just play a game, and be happy with what I had. Carry the guns that I have and not be searching for the next best thing. One of the ways I'm doing that is I started carrying again a Gen 4 Glock 19 with Glock iron sights. Maybe I'll throw some goon tape on it, maybe I won't. I cut one of the Glock grip extensions just about here so that I had a beaver tail. I'm forcing myself to carry this gun again. Instead of going out and spending money. The Gen 6 Glocks just came out. I know a couple people that have them. They're awesome. They feel great in hand. Are they going to perform any better than what I currently have? Is getting one, dumping $500 into one, and $300 to $500 into an optic, and getting that set up, and then getting a new holster for that, going to make my life any better? Probably not. So it's led me to the question, what am I chasing? I can't play a video game without worrying about what everybody else is playing. And running through my mind with what's the best way for me to play it? Which console do I get it on? Do I get it off of Steam and play it on my gaming laptop? Do I get it on my Xbox Series S, my PS5? Is it a Switch game? Am I carrying the newest knife or the newest gun with the newest holster? Why have I been on this hunt? And what am I even hunting for? See, when I'm looking for a game, I'm looking for something to spend my time and have fun. But the games that I enjoy playing, if I would just sit down and play them, would accomplish that goal. When I'm looking for a firearm to carry or a piece of gear to EDC, I'm looking for it to basically hit a certain role in my life. I carry a pocket knife to open Amazon packages. That's pretty much it. Does it have to be the newest $300 Benchmade knife? I carry a firearm to defend myself and my family. Does it have to be something that has an optic? and it's the newest gen of whatever firearm it is you decide to carry. See, when I look back at my life when I wasn't chasing whatever this is, I was happier. I spent more time using the things that I'm discussing here, and less time looking for the next best thing. Pipe smoking has really brought some of this to my mind because I have time to just sit and think when I'm slowing down and smoking a pipe. So what have I been doing lately to combat this issue that I'm discussing today? Well, one, I've stopped spending money on things I don't need. A Gen 6 Glock would be nice. An M&P 2.0 compact metal would be nice. But they're going to fill the same role of the Gen 4 Glock 19 that I have now. So why would I spend the money to go do these things? There's tons of new games out that sound like they'd be a lot of fun. But I have a backlog of games that I want to play, but I haven't because I've been concerned about, well, what comes out next? What game is everybody else playing? So I've forced myself to go back to carrying a Gen 4 Glock 19. And I carry in the holster that I like. I don't care if it's old. I don't care if other people don't like it. It's safe. It's comfortable. I'm going to carry it. With gaming, my wife has been a Switch gamer. She loves gaming on the Switch. She plays Animal Crossing. She upgraded to a Switch 2. I found games that I like. This has been the majority of what I play. I'm playing old Switch 1 games on my wife's Switch 2. The screen's a little bigger. I already have it. My wife uses it a lot. And I don't worry about what game I should be playing or I think I should be playing. I pick it up and I play the game that I want to play. And I've noticed that it is easier for me to game on this than my Xbox. See, when I play my Xbox, I have to turn it on. I have to be in the living room because I don't have a TV in my bedroom. Never needed it. I sleep in there. We tried a TV in the bedroom. Didn't make sense. We never used it. So we have a TV in the living room. So in order for me to play the Xbox or the PlayStation, I have to sit down in front of the TV, boot up the system, either kick people out of the living room or kick them off the TV or find a good time that the kids or my wife is not using the TV for me to game, and then boot up my game and play. And then I kind of become a blockage of the living room. Nobody else can really do anything in there. They can't use the TV. We can't watch a show. Not to say that I don't play my console still, but when I boot up the Switch, it's handheld. I'm not taking up the TV. I can sit in the kitchen with my wife while she's cooking dinner. I can sit on the porch while my kids are out in the front yard playing. I can bring it with me on the go and get in 20 minutes of gaming while I'm out and about. And see, when I boot up a console, the advertisements for the store are there showing you the new sale. And then your mind starts going, what game do I need? What game do I need to hop on there and find? What is everybody playing? When I boot up the Switch, it goes right to the home screen. I have to intentionally go to the Nintendo shop to look at the store. So all I see are the games that I have booted up right there. I turn one on, I'm playing within seconds. I play for 20 minutes, I shut it off. I play for 3 hours, I shut it off. And I had fun doing it. So these are kind of things that I've been doing to try to combat this issue that I didn't really realize I was having until I started pipe smoking and taking the time to slow down. And I realized that I was a lot happier in life when I wasn't chasing whatever this is. So I encourage you, sit down, think about what it is that you're chasing. Maybe you're not chasing anything. Maybe you've already figured it out and you're happy. I'm definitely on my way there. Taking time to be appreciative for the things that I have. Taking time to look at, is this going to accomplish what I need it to accomplish differently or better? Am I going to actually enjoy playing that game? Or am I going to install a game and try to rush through it because I know there's another one coming out, but this is what everybody else is playing right now, and I want to be freed up for the next one. So I didn't enjoy the time I put on this game. I probably don't finish it. And I jump more money on the new game because that's what everybody else is playing. When the reality of it is, I got old games on backlog that I want to play. Like I said, I don't know what this is that I'm chasing. I probably sound like just a crazy person rambling. But in my head, it makes sense. And I definitely notice that I'm happier when I'm not chasing it. So, thanks for coming along and listening to me ramble like a crazy person. Hopefully you somewhat understand what I've said and nobody starts making phone calls to have me committed. I appreciate you guys, and as always, God bless you. Stay lit.